You are listening to Shoot and Scoot, the Flames of War Team Yankee Favour Nation Dharma and Great War podcast that tries to make sense of the weird and wonderful world of 15mm wargaming with our tongues foaming our cheeks, our pans as flat to the ground, and our dice, more often than not, failing to shoot and scoot every episode. We invite you to join us in the many hobby misadventures on Facebook and on the blog at breakthroughassault.co.uk, and to shop online at Badford Hobbies because Hammy is suffering from identity theft. If nice dice are your vice, then be sure to check out diceofwar.com.au, our dice sponsor. I can get that right one day. Here at Shoot and Scoot. And if you need bunkers to bus or bridges to go too far on, then also head over to frontlineterrain.square.site, our terrain sponsor.
Terrain.
Autobahn.
Oh. I was going to listen to the Kraftwerk's Autobahn so I could try and remember how it went. Just to do it again.
If you would like to contribute to this continued failed cross-check of our podcast, you can now also become a Patreon supporter by following the link on the Breakthrough Assault blog. Pay £1 a month for your chance to also become internet famous. I'm Eddie Fez Turner, broadcasting from somewhere in the south of England, and I'm joined by my co-host, Duncan, 1,000 points on the horizon, Gosling.
He's getting close. It's getting very close now.
And Lee, YouTube influencer, Parnell.
Smash that like button, subscribe, that kind of
Smash that like button.
Smash that like.
Ding that bell.
Do you not have to do the challenge thing where you go, I'll give you 5 seconds to subscribe, and then you have to count down? And it's like,
what?
It's on like
Enter your bank details now.
I can't think of his name. Collins Keys, and the other one's Mr. Beast.
Oh God!
I know.
Welcome to episode 85, the one where we listen to the Patreons. Lee, what are we talking about tonight?
Well, tonight we'll be introducing our new patrons in Internet Famous. We'll be talking about what we've been painting in Faces Bases, what we've been playing in News from the Front, and then, after a long absence, because frankly we've been busy with book reviews and stuff, we'll have our patron and officer answers.
It's a bumper edition, isn't it?
Yep, and then we'll run it with events.
Nice.
Along with other waffling.
Yeah, I think even technically in the officer answers got a sneaky You and Who's Army sort of snuck in there as well, which is a surprise when I was going through it.
Yeah, you're surprised. I'm not frantically going through Forces of War.
So only 30 points. How hard could it be?
Yeah, I mean, come on, Eddie.
Yeah. Well, so start off with Internet Famous then.
Yes, yeah. So Eddie, introduce our new patrons.
We have 3 thrice blessed. So let's say a big thank you, Shoot and Scoot, thank you to Luke Taylor. Thank you very much, Luke, for deigning us with your coinage.
Yeah.
Is that our Luke Taylor?
Who's Luke? Your personal Luke Taylor?
My personal Luke Taylor.
Is that Luke, your friend Luke?
My friend Luke.
Yeah, your friend Luke.
No, I can't remember what his last name was. Okay.
Yeah, neither
can
I.
He doesn't publish his last name. You know.
Well, that's understandable, but that's why hence my confusion.
Unless it is, it could be him. He could have just changed it. I don't know.
And now we've given the game away.
Oh God. Mission is compromised. The purple hawk flies by midnight.
Are you Grey Fox? I am Red Squirrel. We also have our second patron, James C. Clark. So,
is he an author?
I don't know.
Arthur C. Clarke's brother.
Yeah.
It's when you would a sci-fi off of Wish.
It's really unimaginative parents. That's what it is. I've got Arthur C. Clarke. What about this one?
It's book 2022 AD. Yeah. So.
God damn it, Arthur.
And our third patron, thank you very much, is Jacob's All Right. So
is he?
Yeah, Jacob's
you
All
sure?
Right.
You sure?
I don't know.
I mean, he's got questionable money priorities.
Questionable spending habits.
Is it a big fan of The Offspring? The kids aren't all right. Yeah.
The kids aren't all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
Isn't it Who?
Huh?
Isn't that the Who?
No.
Who?
The kids are all right.
The kids are all right is the Who.
Yeah.
The kids aren't all right is Offspring.
Oh, I don't know, these modern bands.
I was going to say, there's a mid-90s.
Modern Offspring being 30 plus years old.
Peak 90s. Don't remind me of the 90s or so.
Yesterday's music tomorrow. Yeah. Making a comeback tour like ABBA. You know, it's going to be like robots in the O2.
Okay, right. Well, thank you very much for dating us to give us your hard-earned pennies.
Yeah.
And you may have noticed Duncan say
Mm.
something silky and sensual.
Chocolate.
Duncan now has an extra microphone.
Yeah.
And Taste now has an extra hard drive to sort Dorsey on.
I wonder where that was going then. Yeah.
Steady. Yes. Oh, I've been derailed. Lee, talk about something else while I'm frantically making this army list.
So our patrons now join the exclusive core of our patrons who have access to our Discord, where they can come and help abuse us, try and bait Duncan by mentioning the price of swim wagons at every opportunity.
Yeah, and lucky cards.
And lucky cards.
Tell you what, it's like systemic bullying. Oh, fucking there you go. There's the. You can play. Was it Mike Robinson came up with a drinking game?
Well, it came up with bingo. Thankfully, it's not a drinking game, because otherwise we'd probably kill most of our patrons.
They called it Black Wednesday. Yeah.
But you also, as a patron, get exclusive access now to do an Officer Answers. You leave them on Discord or shoot us a message on the Patreon. And when we get around doing Officer Answers, I go through, screenshot them, and then screenshot them. Apparently, everyone else is blind and can't read them.
It's because you did it all sideways.
It was tiny. It was ridiculous.
It looked fine on my PC. If you guys are looking on like a tiny little phone screens, that's pretty
convenient phone screen.
PCs.
Yeah, on my 87-inch monitor, it looked absolutely fine.
Yeah.
From a different room. Yeah.
You don't put on all three monitors at the same time.
Oh my god.
And then you also get early access to the podcast itself and whatever videos I happen to do. I tend to share them with the patrons early before the rest of the Break for Assault. Even before I give them to Mark.
Even before our friends.
So you two can
and Mark.
You two can watch the hit video where I early and actually watch the bit where I decided not to assemble the rotors and said I'll just punch myself in the crotch for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was trying to find your original unboxing video, but I don't think it's on the YouTube channel, is it?
Oh,
it's on my own YouTube because it was originally a patron exclusive. I must move it over to the channel.
I think you must. It's a very good Easter egg.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yes, so you can get all that.
Some good discourse going on Discord, where especially around army lists, and there seems to be a bit of a pickup in events again, so that's nice to see as well.
It does, yeah, especially in the States. The States seem to be getting quite a few events these days.
Exactly. You know, it's not too far away. Just 3,000 miles.
Well, when we have 100 patrons, well, might be able to afford actually go do like a trip over to the States to see our Canadian and American patrons.
Brethren. Yeah.
As it is right now, we can't afford to go see our German patrons. So.
Yeah, but that's more due to the fact that no one accepts a British passport anymore.
Well, there's that, yes.
Mm. You're from where? Ugh.
So yeah, on to Faces and Bases. So Duncan, what in time-honoured tradition, what have you been painting?
In time-honoured tradition that I didn't realise. Yeah.
None of us did.
No one realised, but Lee going, yeah, it's definitely you first. Is it?
Is it really?
Are you sure? That doesn't feel right. So what have I been painting? That's a good question. So this is most of November, isn't it? November was quite busy, funny enough, as we career towards 1,000, the mystical 1,000-point total. Let's have a look. No, that's just numbers. So that was most of my British that we use for the Shelt games in the barn. So there was a whole load of 3-inch mortars and some kangaroo rifle infantry, so I finished that off. And then the LVT4 buffaloes. So it basically ran it out as three complete units of kangaroo rifles, but instead of having the good kangaroos themselves as transport, they had LTV4s, which aren't really well armoured. Funny enough.
Nope.
Really poorly armoured. But yeah, they were quite nice. They were quite good fun to finish off. I got some Dutch done, so that was the 109s, the Gepard knockoffs in the PRTLs, and then also the Pratt anti-tank missile launchers. Mm-hmm. So they all got finished off, and then a load of German stuff, which that's quite a lot actually. Was weirdly stuff that I don't think I'm ever going to use. So there is that. So it was Nebelwerfers, because I played Martin in the game, which I will go into, but they would have been really handy against hordes of Soviet assault sappers. So
Yes.
yeah, so Nebelwerfers, 105 howitzers, 5 centimeter tank hunters, all got knocked out. And my favourite platoon, probably the whole period, 6 Volks, 8.8 centimeters. So I got the full battery of the Volks, Pack 43s, which
That's a
will
lot of
remain
Tank 17.
pinned. Yeah, they just remain pinned for absolutely ever. And the final thing I painted, the Simaventis, the 75-34s for Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So weirdly, got another box of them in Black Friday sale for a tenner. So I've still got one more box to go with those. But I was trying to puzzle my way through how to put them in a list. I think I've worked it out. You almost have to do 2 lists to actually be able to take, because the Simoventi long are only available in the Italy list. You can't take them as support options because they are not a black box apparently.
Ah, right.
Not great.
Because they're a wild card, aren't they?
No, they're not. So I can't work out what, I don't know. I've got to work out if it's an error on forces or whether it's actually legit. Because it won't allow you to take them, and I thought they were core platoons in the Simoventi company. Because only the 90mm is the wild card.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's actually it's a the thing I hate is the actual formation, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you can take them in formation, but
P40 formation, wasn't it?
No, you can take them in the standard Simoventi formation. You can take the short and the long as platoons. You just can't take the 90. The 90 is the wild card unit.
Yeah, cause it was a dedicated unit.
Yeah. So that's, it's just I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's a foible or whether it's, I need to have a look properly at how it's actually laid out probably in the book itself rather than on forces. But you can do it. You just end up with a really, really weak Simoventi platoon and a quite weak German grenadier force. So it's not, it's less than optimal. But when has that ever stopped us doing anything?
When's that ever stopped you?
Yeah. So, but yeah, they're quite nice. They've all got German crew in them and everything now. So
excellent.
Yeah, they're ticking along. Just a lot of German guns. It's one of those things apparently that I don't seem to have enough of. Who knew? And I got to actually thank Stuart Miniature Realms, because he actually painted up some Typhoons for me.
Very nice too. Yeah,
they look lovely. I wasn't keen on trying to attack the British. I don't know why the British stuff just worries me. Like tanks and aircraft and everything just seems a bit scary, and I don't know why. But they've come up beautifully.
I think it's because of your past life as like a German panzer crew. Therefore, you
What,
see a Typhoon, you go a bit.
Nines. See, Tommy's in the sky. Yeah, it's just weird. I think it's just I'm not very comfortable with the colour stuff. I think I'll be the same actually though with weirdly the German stuff, because I don't think I've ever managed to paint like a light blue, pastel blue, properly.
Right.
And that's the kind of underneath for everything, isn't it? And you can't paint that. It's a bit of a limitation.
So what you want to do is 1950s aircraft where everything's bright white on the bottom for anti-radiation.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. And then I'm just finishing off now 4 comets, which takes me up to 960 points for the year.
And those are looking amazing.
I'm really, really pleased how they come out. I know it's historically anthema, but
yeah, I'm trying to hold that against you, but they are looking very fantastic.
Well, this is now where we can bully Eddie as well into making sure that he uses the yellow circles, so we can have a whole company of Cromwells. Comets.
So well, I should probably explain. This came about when I realised all 3 of us had comets, and so I browbeat the other 2 into actually having a comets marked up as free RTR. So the idea being that one day we'll put down a complete free RTR regiment on the table.
Yeah,
that's the aim.
You haven't actually told me about this yet. You told Duncan. I must have picked it up in.
No, you replied to the affirmative on the Facebook messaging when we were working.
You did. I think you initially replied with the word "sigh," and then what markings am I putting on my tanks?
Oh, that's right. Now I remember.
Yeah, now it's
I
come
blacked
crashing
that one
back.
out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you
It
want
involved
to do
me
what?
actually painting something.
But,
It's a
but,
long-term ambition.
I mean, my
I mean,
comics
this
are
this
painted and just need decals because I took them to Carrivery
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
years ago.
And I think you saying that is what prompted the realization that this was doable. 'Cause I assumed
Yeah.
you'd already done your comics at some point in the distant past with decals. I didn't realize they were
No, I
decal
hadn't
free.
decal. Yeah, funny enough, Lee, I ran out of time before the event to put decals on.
Yeah, you can't really put decals on in the car, can you?
Which is weird. 'Cause, well, the thing is, that I put for decals on quite early in the painting process. Cause I weather them into the actual tank.
Yeah,
It's not like for me. It's not like the last step or anything like that. So my assumption was that they must have had the decals on.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're
no.
assuming that I have more than 2 steps to painting a model as well.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Spray, detail, done on the table. I mean, yeah, they're deployed and destroyed, so there's no point in putting too much effort into them.
What?
None of my models
No,
stand the
they're
board
awesome.
long enough usually.
No, they're really nice actually. They're a lovely kit. The transfers, not so much.
Yeah, the latest
They
batch
gave me-
aren't that great for things.
Everything's splitting.
Have they changed the supplier? Are they still fancy print?
No, Fantasy Print Shop.
Yeah.
They're slightly weird. Some of them are really, really thick, and these ones are the opposite. They're really, really thin, almost, and a bit fragile. And they were coming apart in the water.
That's not good.
Yeah, I think to be honest, they had been so. Full disclaimer, they had looked like they'd been folded at one point. So I completely appreciate the one that had been folded in half probably wasn't going to be that great, but they definitely there was definitely some issues with the other little ones, and now I need more yellow triangles as well, because apparently all the tanks in Battlefronts like Sphere are all red squares.
Yeah, for some reason they like doing the senior regiment, which is red, rather than the much cooler second regiment,
which is not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you like red squares,
This is a sleeper agent trigger, isn't it? Red square.
Yeah, Rich Hardy's somewhere in Scotland now.
Twitching.
Twitching.
Yeah, that's before he hears the message.
I was going to say, that's just his relaxing music, isn't it? Get home from a hard day's work. So yeah, that was it. There's quite a bit. I'm 40 points away now from a magical. No, from a magical 1,000 points.
Oh, right.
In a year.
In a year.
Jeez.
So how about your paint? Some Leopard 2 A5s. Cut like 2 of those will get you over that line really quickly.
Well, this is it. I've run out of high value stuff. That's why I ended up painting 4 comets, because they're not super high value, but they're at least more than
1 point to stand.
Exactly. Yeah. I've painted 2 buffaloes. Oh, that was the worst thing actually. Painting 6 buffaloes, and you're like, well, how many points is that? Half. Each. The 2 points right. Okay. Well, that was a waste of time then, wasn't it? So.
Oh dear.
I haven't got any elephants left or anything like that, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, no leopard 2s. We'll have to work it out. I don't know. We'll get there. Somehow. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how.
Nice.
Who's next?
I think me, technically, usually.
Is it usually you?
Yeah.
Is it on the schedule?
It's on the schedule. Yeah, so since the last episode, I have painted up 4 sextons.
Is this your miniature whoring?
Yeah. Well, the 4 sextons were mine. I mean, I'm back to commit back to, and also 2 Plaster Soldier Company 15 CWT trucks with a new payloads from S&S models.
Oh, they look very nice, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing.
They really did.
There'll be a review of those coming up in the new year once I sit down and write it. But I did a thing of actually, as soon as I got them, getting them out, photographing them, painting them, and not losing them after I put them down somewhere like I did last time. They sent me a model to review, so I felt obliged to get it done really quickly. Yeah, so I got those. I then started the next part of my commission, which was 4 Shermans, Sherman 2s, but being painted for late war Brits. So I was painting them as Guard Regiment, I think.
Is that legal?
It's it's fine. It's
Is it adjacent to legal?
it's what the customer asked for, therefore it's fine. I also have one Daimler, but because obviously they're playing battle group or something, so you don't have to do like whole platoons. So there's one Daimler armored car in that mix as well. And now I'm working on the infantry component of that by painting up a platoon of British Rifles, which for some reason have an extra P at stand, which I wasn't expecting. It was confusing me initially.
It could be for if it's for chain of command that you get like extra little asset things, don't you? So
yeah, I can't remember if it's chain of command or battle group he plays, but it's not flames. It's all a bit weird, but it's based like it's for flames, which is what confuses me.
it's based like flames.
Like as in like the basis. If I took a picture of this, it looked like a standard British rifle platoon if I was playing flames.
Yeah, on the right base.
Yeah, everything's on standard like flames war infantry bases and stuff like that. I know some people do that with 50mm battle group because you can then use it for flames as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't even know what. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even experienced.
I think I have to plead with him to let me. Once I get these done, let me take a short break so I can paint the hips ready for the big game.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I probably won't be able to get the West German Fallschirmjäger done, but I should be able to at least get the hips done. To use my
Have you got Jaeger figures? Because they're out of stock in loads of places.
I think I might have a blister of them somewhere. I think I'm pretty sure I bought a blister. If anyone needs them because they're out of stock, then.
I was just looking. I'm in the middle of the throes of writing an article on it actually about good opposition. That's why I was asking about what would be sort of taking on the VDV forces. Yeah. And I think that the Jaegers were definitely up there. They're so shonky. Formation of 24 points. With the
did you just drop out?
Whatever it is.
You there, Duncan?
So next purchase for Duncan will be a new laptop.
No, it's
muting and unmuting.
Yeah, it was twitching. I'm back.
Right,
sorry, just saying that,
well, like I said, just painting the British infantry right now.
Ooh.
And bizarrely, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure because I haven't finished them yet, but it just seems like the uniforms are coming out really sand coloured. I'm not sure if I've done something different to how I normally paint British infantry.
Oh, I hate that. I always regret not writing down what paints I use in the order and the wash. Yeah,
well, I thought I was doing this the same way as normal. So normally it's German medium brown as a base, then English uniform, and then a green brown highlight. But it's just, to my eye, it just seems really sandy coloured for some reason. I'm not sure why. But it might just because I haven't got, I'm just literally at the first colour I've done. So It might just be as other colours go on, it balances itself back out again.
Yeah.
If not, I might just put an Agrax wash over it and see if I can bring it back to being a bit more
balanced. Agrax shade. Considerable all sins.
Oh, yes. But, yeah. Eddie, what have you been painting?
Not Flames of War, or Team Yankee, or Fate of a Nation, or Narm, or Great War.
Of course.
Yeah. We've been playing Nick Commander at the Guildford Games Club, and we're getting to the end of a campaign that we've done for, 6 weeks now.
Okay.
So I've been painting my Orlok gang for that. I'm actually going to give a shout out, which I forgot to do last time, which was the Gilders Ford Radio podcast.
Gilders Ford Radio.
Ford. Gilders. Okay. It's a play on Guildford.
Got you. Yep.
So it's Gilders Ford Radio. They've done 2 episodes. I had a slot on the first one.
Oh my god!
Because my first game in the campaign was so bad, I had to start again.
Because that happens.
The game 2 with 2 gangers, which isn't great. But the highlight of Monday's night's game was the fact that in a 4-turn game of Necromunda with 8 gangers on my side, I rolled 17 ones.
Wow!
Because we started counting, proper wrist diary. River's wrist diary moment. That was 17 ones. It got to the point that when I actually wounded my opponent's ganger, he applauded for not rolling a 1.
But
really good.
But didn't you win?
And I still won. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I don't know how, but where there's a will.
Well, it was my game to lose. I had the much higher gang rating. I got the mission where I was defending. My opponent had a weaker gang with loads of people in recovery, so it was just very one-sided.
What, in like
Anyway.
AA?
And then it just ended up not quite.
Mm.
Then he ended up just not, just taking longer than it would have done had my big multi-laser actually hit things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
my god!
17 runs.
You had a multi-laser, so the thing that's on like an APC.
Oh, sorry, no, it's they call it a mining laser, but basically it's a las cannon.
It has 2 shots.
No, it
Right.
only has 1 shot, but it's 1 shot at 24 inches. So they've toned down the range, so it's a repurposed mining laser.
Yeah.
Repurposed.
Yeah, because obviously you don't normally shoot people with industrial equipment.
Not according to the
but
A-team.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly, they A-teamed it into a las cannon.
Yeah.
So that's why
mining laser Mikey, who's like really good ballistic skill and has optical sights and all that kind of jazz, just keeps rolling 1s to hit, and then when he does hit, it's 1s to wound, which is just hilarious. So I've been slinging some paint there. I painted a bit of terrain to go with that, go along with the campaign, because we had our own little bases.
That's the one you bought at Battlefield Hobbies, wasn't it?
It is, yeah. My little Dino Gas petrol station, which looks really cool. Yeah, very thematic for Orlocks, as that's their little hideout.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're Italian mobsters, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Petrol station.
Little Guido. Yeah.
And then what I have started doing on my painting table at the moment is my Canadians for Team Yankee.
Woo!
For a little air assault game we're hoping to play tomorrow. He says, yeah. So they're not going to be finished for tomorrow, unfortunately.
But we're used to that.
That noise was Lee falling off his chair.
Yeah, just disappointment.
Just face palming the table.
Fine.
Just right. But also, it's an air assault game, and how many ADATs are you bringing? All
right, this list was the Canadian 75-point list that I just had sitting there for an employment campaign.
Ed, that's not the answer, though, is it? What's the answer, Eddie?
The answer is 4.
4, exactly.
However, in the air assault mission, the defender does start bailed out.
Everyone starts bailed out, to be fair, yeah.
Everyone on the board is bailed out, and I've only got a 4-up remount.
Oh, we're Canadians? Oh, dear.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna need every ADAT I can get back into the fight as quickly as possible.
Well, yeah. How many hinds have you got, Lee?
So I've got 8 hinds. I've got 8 hinds. I've got a large Afghanistan platoon, a small Afghanistan platoon going the 4 hinds. A flight of 4 and 2 flights of 2 hinds. Flight of 4 Su-25s. And the little VDD BMD Afghanistan platoon. So like the ones that are on, are hit on 4s, skill 3+.
Yeah,
but
it's like only like 6 stands or something.
Yeah, so my ADATs aren't going to last long, and I wish I could take 6.
Yeah.
But oh well, say la vie. So Canadians at the moment on the painting table. Get those finished off, and then I'm enjoying my focused painting at the moment. I haven't had a whole heap of time to sling any paint, to be fair, but hopefully that'll change over Christmas. So that's me in a nutshell.
Cool.
This is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm
just
in a
waiting for
nutshell.
Yeah.
Who put me in here? How did this happen?
Classic film. All right. News to the front then. So we played some shop games, didn't we, Duncan?
We did, and I also played. So we'll go into that later, but as in, I'll go into this section later. But I played with Martin on the River Assault for Progression, which was quite interesting.
Yes.
So we played that game, but yeah, the Shelt stuff was. We won, didn't we, Eddie? We played Mike with his. No, sorry,
it's the other way around.
Won. Mike and I won.
You and Mike beat me, yeah.
With your Fallschirmjäger, your dirty Fallschirmjäger.
All 3 of us were there once, wasn't it?
We were.
Yeah, we were.
For some reason, in my head, you weren't there, but yes.
That's because I might as well not been, because I got rolled over by 300,000 British.
That's not true. That's not true at all. So
Buffaloes.
we were playing it. We were playing on hard mode. We were playing on God mode because we made all of the 3 rivers on the table impassable. So they were fine for buffaloes. However, things like I don't know, toad 6-pounders. Eddie then mined all the bridges, which is very unsporting of him. So
I think you'll find I mined the road this side of the bridge.
oh, all right. So you didn't mine the bridge exactly, but you mined.
No, I didn't. I didn't put any mines in the bridge. That'd be far too easy if you did a fuse. I dug them into the road just as you were off the bridge.
Exactly, which was awkward.
But considering 90% of your army had amphibious rule anyway, did it really stop you?
Yeah, it did, because it was all our anti-tank. And at some point you were going to roll on with some 470s, and it was like, oh, how are we going to deal with that? A single pier. This Polson is very good, but it's not really 89, is it? And it also became problematic when the first turn you ambushed with, because you had the first turn, not us, which was also a bit of a strange one, and promptly popped your ambush and shot pack 40s at poor buffaloes. Full of infantry, and destroyed them both before they could cross the river. So
and killed half the guys inside. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awkward again. But once again, not vests, the wasps were
actual wasps. Yeah,
actual wasps were very good. They were very, very very effective at digging.
You had one round where you kind of fluffed, and I was like, oh, okay, I might live through this. And the next round, you came back with a vengeance and just burned all of my little Sky Nazis.
Yeah, and Mike was doing his usual thing of charging around corners with, hundreds of great-coated British infantry.
I did. Yeah. That was a high point for me, where he disembarked, ran through that wood, and the next turn my mortars just dropped the most devastating barrage.
Yeah,
raged first time, hit like 9 stands and killed like 6 or 7 of them, and just decimated the platoon.
Yeah, and then kept hammering them out his way because he couldn't dig in, and it was awful.
That was something else. I was like, oh, this my guns do work, hurrah!
But that was awkward.
Yeah, and then you end up pushing up down the side, getting onto the near side objective, slowly bleeding my platoons dry, and all my reserves arrived in entirely the wrong corner.
Yep,
and then just basically took too long getting across the board.
Yeah, Mike had great fun slapping around some mortars, didn't he?
Yes, yeah, he charged the mortars and the nebs.
Yeah,
and was just eating them.
Yeah, nebs again. See, if in the right circumstance, I've actually come around to the idea that nebs can be useful.
Well, you need to not be attacking. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think as well, it's against the right matchup.
Sure.
As well, which that always helps. But against stuff like that, it was because we were fighting long ways as well. They were just smashing stuff. Very effective. But yeah, Mike did very well, charging things and crushing them, and I was just waddling along. I think I love the Oster as well, just flying around nonchalantly doing nothing, spotting for some mortars, and then some 25-pounders, and then we also had the Typhoon, which I don't think did anything that game at all.
Oh, he got too close.
Oh, it killed. No, it killed. That's right. It killed. Killed one Panzer 470 in the end.
That was it. Another. He ranged in like 3 of them, and then missed.
And then didn't.
Of course, you'll claim he got all 3.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I fired rockets at them. They must all be dead, right?
But yeah, that was he killed one, so he earned his points back. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at doing well.
Yeah. Exactly. So that was good fun.
Yeah, fun river crossings with the Bailey Bridge from.
Well, 3 rivers was interesting as well, wasn't it? Trying to get across 3 river crossings, trying to get across 3 separate rivers. I think was it 3 or 2?
2 actually.
It was 2. Sorry.
Yeah, it was 2.
2 river crossings.
2 river crossings with 3 bridges.
Yeah.
That you just sailed across.
Yeah, but you kind of sort out there, which does make you a bit of a target.
I was playing Nathan on the polder table with the crossroads. And
how did that work out for you?
There was a land mattress, I seem to recall, and that land mattress was quite nasty. I bought the rams he lent me, and I painted up for him basically. And he was glad I bought him because he was using them against me. I seem to recall. I seem to recall his Canadian Shermans were just. I managed to get the Stugs to ambush him at one point and get some shots on them. But the polder table was really hurting me getting some lines of fire because it's big embanked roads. It ended up being a knife fight, which suited the Canadians because obviously they are quite punchy in assault, being British infantry are oh so fearless. And yeah, it was Nathan managed to beat back. I think my Yag Panthers, which I took as my one drop reserve because Duncan found a reference to there being 3 of them supporting the guys, sort of turned up just in time to watch everyone dying in front of them. He goes, yeah, we'll just leave it here.
They're not really assault machines, are they?
No. But it was fine. Yeah, it was good. It was a good game because it's an interesting tactical challenge playing that board table.
Yeah, it's very different, isn't it? Because the line of sight's completely distorted.
Especially the way tall terrain works in this edition. It's very much a version 2 and 3 table when it's because tall terrain effectively is towards all of the tall terrain.
Oh, of course.
It's it had some weird repercussions I hadn't thought about beforehand.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then so I think we only played one game. I don't think we played any more than one game that evening each, did we?
No,
because it's getting really cold.
Yes.
I was going to say, it's getting a bit brass monkeys.
I think the next time we did it was playing an intro game for Mike and Team Yankee. I basically bought 2 lots of forces, so we bought some West Germans so that he could put his US Marine Corps air power he'd already got done. I bought some a T-80 company, or battalion, I should say, go against that. And me and Nathan just basically talked him through how to play the game. And he was quite happily blowing up T-80s at long distance with Milans and Leopard 2s because apparently I couldn't roll saves, and he was quite good at rolling firepower. So
you just injected that new drug of Team Yankee directly into his vein, didn't you? Yeah.
Although I did get the rules wrong at one point, and my last Hail Mary assault, which probably wasn't going to work anyway, because it's literally 2 guys assaulting a West German Marder platoon, was stopped by defensive fire from his Cobras. Only later did Eddie point out to me that obviously Cobras can't fire anything that's within 8 inches of other guys. So, so you can't actually fire defensive fire with them. But it wouldn't have mattered. I was going to die horribly anyway, so it just hastened my dying, basically. But yeah. And then I played Nathan down the shop as well.
Oh yeah,
we had the worst tank duel ever. In that his Chaffies versus my Brigade Panzer IVs, and he was hitting me, but then failing his firepower. I was not getting in because obviously I'm reluctant, but somehow passing my last stand checks. And so slowly my tank power is degrading, but not actually going anywhere. And it all petered out, and he fought. He killed off most of the Panzer IVs, and then the King Tigers, I sort of left guarding. We were playing, what mission we were playing? A really odd mission. I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been Spear Point.
Oh, that's my new favourite.
Yes. Well, yeah, so my reserves come on from my edge, that's the attacker.
Yeah.
I thought, the King Tigers are too far back, I'm not going to do anything. I'll just stop him here from him trying to get my objectives. And I was sort of like slowly rolling forward, shooting things. And basically managed to get onto the objective and push back his battle-weary rifle platoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because he'd sort of like committed destroying all my Panzer IVs on the other flank, all we really had was the HQ Chaffies, another Chaffee platoon which died from the Stugs and the King Tigers taking them on. I suddenly realised that I was actually there might be a chance here. And so I pushed it and managed to beat him off the objective, which cued a lot of moaning about King Tigers, which I actually sympathise with because it's most of the same moaning I did after you beat me at Warfare. Why are these things 2+ morale and like so fast in tactical move? I know.
I just don't care this week.
Yes.
Yeah. You're in my world now. Yeah.
But yeah, his Chaffies were quite fun. It was because it's quite a good matchup, like Chaffies versus Brigade Panzer IVs. So
Well, normally I would expect both sides to be just exploding all over the place, but that clearly wasn't the case.
Yeah, I mean, I landed a few hits on it, but I just seemed to be failing firepower checks the same as he was.
Yeah.
So we were both bringing Doug rounds to that game. So.
That old chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the 3+ firepower, isn't it? It always feels better than it actually is.
Mm.
Apart from the opponent's 3+, which always seems to work.
Always hits every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hello, Murphy. How's your law?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was pretty much all the game I did. So, Duncan, you said you were playing.
Yeah, I played
Martin.
2 more games. I played Martin. I played Luke. So I played Martin, and we played the River Assault from the Migration extra book. I can't think what it's called. Campaign pack, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. So I took. They were the cruddy infantry from the command cards. So I think they're. What's the Sverber band? Who's the guy that leads that? I can't think of his name now. Von Saken.
Yes.
So there's a card for Von Sauken's Reserve Grenadiers, which makes standard Grenadiers even worse. So I'd taken those as it being a kind of real rear echelon, dirt poor Grenadier unit. And I took some Hetzers and some Jagdpanzer 4s, all the stuff that I wouldn't normally take. I mean, Jagdpanzer 4s, I mean, I don't know what they are. Not useful, that's for sure. Because at one point we thought they didn't have a machine gun either, and I was about to Jesus flip the table at that point. They actually do, but I was getting very. What's the point of that then? And then I also remembered that Hetzers are no good against infantry because they've only got a rate of fire 2 machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little.
Which is slightly irritating. But yeah, that I had this sort of standard stuff: 2 infantry platoons, the command, 3 infantry platoons actually. One was in reserve. I had the short 75 infantry guns, the support, and then some 5cm anti-tank guns, which was hilarious because Martin had the sappers, so he had his big unit of sappers. Then I think it was 1 or 2 units of smaller units of sappers,
right?
And then the coup de grace was the IS 122s, and some, which against my little 5cm, I was like, hold on, wait a second. I've got nothing that can go through you at the front.
Nope.
But to be fair, the way we played it, they didn't really have a great effect on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the nature of the scenario.
Yeah.
And what else do you have? Oh, some 76s. And it's the first time anyone's ever played under the cover of smoke against me. And I didn't realise it lasted 2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
The Soviet one does, yeah.
Yes, that was a bit of a surprise. Right, the smoke comes off. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh dear. Right. Yes. Good stuff. But yeah, I mean, the other weird thing about that scenario is you can't shoot the infantry once it gets into the boats.
No.
So, which is fine. I get it. It's a game thing. And what was quite funny is that we had rolled for the direction of the current. We just both forgotten it. And Martin launched his like amphibious assault with his big platoon, which had something like 11 assault boats or something insane. It was huge.
Yeah.
And yeah, cast off, and then they all drifted like downstream, which essentially put them, instead of opposing like either one of my infantry platoons on the table, they actually end up opposing neither, and just sort of landing in this empty space and going, oh, yeah, and going, oh, this is all right.
How
and
convenient.
Then just started promptly rolling everything up. I was like, oh, for the love of. But no, it was a really interesting game. It's a completely different mindset, and I immediately with that kind of thing, you immediately, I find, invariably end up tinkering around with lists and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it makes some stuff like the machine gun nest really interesting. The rivers is it impassable? I think it's completely impassable.
Apart from infantry, yeah.
Apart from infantry, and it was one of those cases where we were talking Schwimmwagons. And whether there was a good case to be made for having Schwimmwagons, because you can just, instead of, the thing with the assault boats is you move up to the river, and then you launch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could move amphibiously, you could essentially get across in a turn.
Right.
But you can assault off the assault boat, but you can't assault off the an amphibious transport.
No, because you're still a soft skin until you convert to be infantry, right?
Correct. So there's pros and cons for either, but it was just an interesting conversation of that there actually might be some merit in that, because you can get across more quickly with some fire supporty stuff. Because the other thing you've got is you're limited by the number of assault boats you have.
Yes.
And I can't remember if you can reuse them or not. I think you can, but that obviously limits them how much stuff you can get across in one turn, because if they're still embarked on the transports, they're using them up still.
Yeah, if they didn't get off, you're stuck there.
Exactly that. So it's a very interesting story. I mean, I just couldn't stop in the end. The big block of sappers again, just smashing the living snot out of anything in front of them. Although there was one plucky machine gun which saw off one of the small sapper units almost by itself. So I think it counted for 5 sapper stands in the end by just this one MG42 on try.
It's certainly the kind of game where machine gun teams are going to be far more useful than they normally are.
Yes.
Well, and it's really interesting because in terms of like the actual incoming assault, you can't shoot them almost on the way in, but you as they disembark and hit you, you absolutely need to just pour as much as you can into them.
Yeah.
Because I think Martin actually managed to get off a 12-stand charge as well at one point.
Oh, wow.
Which is
I finally did it.
Only because he was attacking where he'd split those 2 units, he managed to attack like 3 units at the same time almost.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much in front of him that he could essentially, I think one unit he managed to mob with about 6 stands, just because it could get almost all the way around it. But yeah, that was really good. And then Luke and I on Friday played a Team Yankee game. We actually played 100 points, which is the first time we've ever done anything really that large. And it was Luke's British and I played the Soviets. And we played Spear Point. So we played a Flames of War scenario in Team Yankee, and it worked really well. Yeah. Just there was so much stuff dead. We played with like an autobahn down the middle. I think at one point my formation consisted of my command T80, a single gaskin, and something else, and there was like 3 vehicles total. So yeah, I took my T80s because I've never taken them before. And Luke had his chieftain company and then a recce company. And the highlight for me was the toss managed to range in 3 times, first time on a 6.
Hey, break the duck. Finally,
and do you know why? Do you know why? Because I took an observer.
There you go.
And they didn't need it. So
wait, you didn't need the observer. You managed to do it on your own.
They did it without the observer, correct? So it made it even less palatable. The fact he was even on the table apparently inspired them to pull their finger out.
You must have carnations like to be able to get the observer.
Correct. Yeah, I had carnations information. I thought, oh balls, I'm gonna try it, see if it works. And they absolutely messed up a unit of British infantry,
as they should do. Yeah.
Yep.
As they should do. Yep. They ranged in first time and just went for dunk. I think they killed 3 stands the first time round, and Luke was like, "Oh no, I'll try and stick it out because they're on the objective." And then the second time round, they killed 4 stands, and it doesn't matter, does it? They don't get any worse.
No, that's it.
So, but yeah, they just skadooshed a unit down to 3 stands in 2 turns, which is horrific. And he's learnt the value, I think, of anti-air. Because he only had 2 rapiers in his entire list, and I took 4 Hinds. And those 10 points of Hinds they were just causing havoc. They took out the rapiers the first turn, and then just.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I was just going to say that the Abbots have definitely made my list now of things that must die immediately.
Abbots are awesome.
They are really.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They won in the game. They went full assault, and they were the ones that were taking out the Gaskins on my objectives. He actually dashed them across the table and then started direct firing Hesh rounds into them.
Yep.
This is insane.
Had you not learnt from our game while I was direct firing the Abbots?
Well, yeah. I knew they were nasty, but he just went, right, there's nothing over there that can really hurt me. I'm going to go and absolutely persecute them.
Yep.
But it was one of those games where I was on the objective on one side of the table, he was on the objective on the other, and he broke my company in the end.
So what was killing the T80s?
Chieftains. Chieftains were in the flank.
In the flank. Oh, in the flank. Yeah, that's fine.
flank,
Everything
yeah.
dies in the flank.
So exactly, I lost 3 of them because the way the reserves came on. I think if you rolled a 5 or 6, he came on behind my T80s that were about to take the objective on the left hand
Yeah.
side. And of course, you rolled a 5, and they appeared, and then stuck 3 rounds directly into the arse of. I think it was 2 of them that he managed to kill in that turn, which was just horrific. And what killed the? Oh, and then chieftains on the other side. I was getting flanked by the what they called the little swing fires.
Swing fires, yeah. The hot
they were
missiles, yeah.
Yeah, and they were able to take me on from the front because they're 23.
Yeah. That's why I painted up my swing fires. Cause was it the small one, the striker in the recce formation?
He had both. He had the 4-3-2s and the strikers.
I painted mine up because I figured the Brits were going to need him to take on T80s because the chieftain's not bad.
But you just can't, yeah.
But you just can't. You can't. As we saw with your Leopard 2s in that game we played like a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But Anti-Tank 2022 is just too marginal against front armor 20.
Yeah.
It's not worth. Yeah, it's just not worth it. And there was a couple of occasions where he was keeping the swing fires just alive, and the threat of them is, it's just well, I'm going to hit you on 3s, and then just roll a 1 or a 2.
It's a fleeting being. That's it.
Yeah. So that then allowed the chieftains to try and get round flanks if they could, or make themselves awkward. Because it's
impressive being flanked by a chieftain, considering it's not the most agile of main battle tanks.
Well, it's just that the nature of the scenario where you both had to take the objectives, and because you're playing long ways, weirdly your flanks become quite long.
Yeah.
Because you've got to try and drive past or through your opponent, and actually get onto those objectives on the far side. But it was the game when I really, really wanted we were also playing on a bigger board, so we were playing on an 8x5, and it was I definitely wanted in that game the hip with the VDV in it to go and take the fire objective, because they would have just flown in, and that would have essentially been a real thorn in the side to try and remove.
Yeah.
But no, there's an excellent game. I think we'll do that a bit more. Try and just play some flame scenarios, but with Team Yankee, it seems to work all right.
I want to say that Spearpoint is in the newest Team Yankee mission pack.
Oh, is it?
I think they standardised the mission packs between the 2 games.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Basically, what changes is obviously what triggers deep reserves. Obviously, the armor value is a lot higher in Team Yankee, but the actual mission still works the same.
Yeah, it's really fun, because it's one of those ones where even if you're defending, which Luke was, you've still got to move.
Mm-hmm.
There's still an element of movement in it, and you've got you're not sat on both objectives from the start, so you have to redeploy, and there was a lot going on, and it really ebbed and flowed, and just like I said, there was mass destruction on both sides. The recce company evaporated for the British, quite, I think by turn 3 or 4, because they were just holding up the T80s on my left by throwing themselves in front of them.
Yeah.
Because he was like, aha, I've got scorpions, I can try and get. Oh no, wait, hold on. What's your side armor?
It's heat as well.
It's heat. That's the problem. It's heat. If it wasn't heat, you could go through, but it isn't. So you're 80. Your armor 16 on the flank.
That firepower 2 is really handy.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was murdering other stuff. It was murdering BMPs. I think at one stage he fired 8 rounds into BMPs and killed 6.
Oh wow.
Which was pretty horrific. But yeah, a great game. It's probably the best one we played for a while, actually. Like that.
Good.
So a lot of games.
And any non-Necromunda games for you, Eddie?
No, not that I can think of. I played Lord of the Rings.
Oh, go on. That's right.
Which was, I played my Urukai versus my 2 good friends, Paul and Justin, over in Guildford. They had Rohan, and I had Saruman and the little Grima Wormtongue as well, who have a very vicious combination when it comes up against Theoden. In that when you have Grima next to Theoden, it stops him from doing his heroic stuffs and makes him unable to use like heroic resistance and things like that. Very thematic. So in the very first turn, the Rohan rode up from a nice battle line, ready to charge down my Urukai. And Saruman just kind of went, "Oh, Theoden, come stand in the middle, in charge range by yourself," and then swamped him with Uruks and stabbed him to death.
Oh
And
dear.
it went downhill from there.
Poor
It was
Theoden.
kind of like it's one of those things. Magic's good in Lord of the Rings, but it does get a little bit, and some lists do need it to kind of get the balance effect, but it is a little bit of a negative, like, I'm just stopping you from doing things is the most powerful stuff they have. So you've got a great hero and you don't get to use him, which obviously is negative for the player that bought the hero and wants to use him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I'll do that in the future.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's I'm looking forward to playing through some of
Punish
the
the week.
themed scenarios for the story and stuff like that. So
I've got to get my Radagast
you
out
do.
again.
He's
I love
awesome.
Radagast Brown.
Did I tell you about the extended versions of The Hobbit?
No.
So are there?
Yes. So Paul was telling us about. I was like, talking about the movies, and I was like, "Oh, The Hobbit's not great." He goes, "Have you seen the extended versions?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, that's the only way you watch them now, because the extended versions of The Hobbit put enough of the character stuff back in to make it a little, make it a lot more enjoyable of an experience." So much so that I actually bought them off streaming, and he's right. It actually, obviously it's still a kids films, but it's a lot, there's a lot more in there that makes you actually attached to the characters, as opposed to just being interspecies love triangles everywhere.
Hot elf and dwarf action.
Hot elf, dwarf, human, I don't know, whatever, everything else. But no, yeah, Lord of the Rings, awesome. I'm looking forward to some Team Yankee tomorrow. Been too long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give the old air assault a try out.
Need to find my NATO dice so they can betray me and roll ones.
Yeah. With Canadians. Oh, surely the Canadian contingent on Discord will be cheering for you, Eddie. That must be worth something.
I hope so. I do hope so.
Yeah.
Should we go to an officer answers?
We should, yeah.
Sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So first one is from Panzerleer.
Who I got to meet for the first time at Warfare, and I was quite good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you.
With his disgustingly painted army.
Is that jealousy coming through there a little bit there, Duncan?
No. It's just awful. It's hideous.
Quote,
I hate
unquote,
it.
Disgustingly.
Yeah, disgustingly painted.
Always,
God damn it.
Strong. I'll just give up. Especially with you guys as well. It's like, what's the point? I'll barely paint them enough the night before that I don't feel too embarrassed.
This is like every time I see any of Soren's work and I just want to cut my hands off.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I paint for myself.
Exactly, his Gebirgsjäger stuff. I just looked at that and went, I don't even understand what this is anymore.
Right now.
Yeah.
I just can't even.
What are we doing here? Yeah, so anyway,
this is a good painter, a very strange question asker. Says, who was the furriest Nazi in your opinion?
Ooh, that's a good question.
This is why we did. This is why we stopped doing off answers, because I didn't want to answer this question.
I've discussed this with my local group and horrified them beyond the ability to continue a rational conversation. Hence why we now get it. He starts with strong candidates include General Field Marshal Rommel, whose large-eared predilections are known to all, but also Hitler himself, whose name includes the element wolf, since he used the nickname wolf since the 1920s, called his headquarters the Wolf Slayer, etc. An outside contender could also be Goering, who doesn't have any known furry traits, but for whom only a custom oversized ocelot fursuit or similar would feel remarkably and horrifyingly on brand.
See, I would say Goering's not an outsider at all.
No, I don't think so.
He had a lion.
He finishes off with
a baby tiger.
There's always Albert Speer, who named every new tank after a new type of kitty cat.
That's true as well. How are we getting on with those munitions, Albert? Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, we're going to hit quotas. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to point out, the Polish actually brought a bear with them into combat. So,
yeah.
Maybe it wasn't actually a bear. Maybe it's just a guy in a bear suit.
It's just a furry guy. God.
I dance around my furry bear.
I think it's going to be Rudel.
What? What?
What? Rudel,
Why?
the streaker
Explain.
because he drank
Yeah,
only
I know
drank
he
milk.
is.
What?
I don't know. For some reason,
Eh?
I can see. I have no idea about the furry world, so I don't want to upset anyone who is. If that's your thing. But I can see that only drinking milk
Is that a thing?
for Rudel.
What the
Yeah.
the lactate
Yeah,
from
yeah,
another
Rudel only drank
another
milk.
mod?
I regret coming up in his biography. I saw.
No, it did. No, it did. Yeah, he did.
Did
He
it?
never drank alcohol. He only drank milk.
Yeah, but hold on. No, forget alcohol. There's not drinking alcohol, and then there's only drinking milk.
Yeah, there's Fanta
Well,
and Earth-Shattering coffee.
I'm not going to let
Yeah.
historical actually get in the way of a good story. So for now, in my head, Rudel only drinks milk and has a furry nightcap and oversized paw-shaped slippers, or at least one oversized paw-shaped slipper.
Wow, I don't even know. I don't. Yeah. I mean,
I think they were all.
I think
they probably were all furries, weren't they? I guess the question is the furriest, but that's whoever's in charge of the lodge.
Well, are we limited to just Germans?
It does say Nazi, so that is the question.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone that's.
I mean, not that we're saying
That's
all
bizarre.
the furries have a Nazi problem or anything. Because to be fair to the furry community, they did actually manage to sort out their Nazi problem, which is better than most communities actually have ever done.
I think it's Eva Brown.
Well, I mean, there's German shepherds as well. I mean, that's the thing, right? I'm just saying.
Before we get the explicit rating, I'm going to move on to the next question. Darren Hart says, I love Great War, Flames of War, Fate of Nation, Narm and Team Yankee. I love painting muted colours. I'm feeling a bit burnt out on green and brown. Since I play no other games outside of this set, can you recommend something that will be more colourful, with lots of interesting backstory, and a good rule set that he could dabble in?
Baltec.
Oh, outside
Bolt action.
Oh my god.
Baltec. It's got all the colour. All the
Battle
setting.
Tech. Sorry, I thought you were saying bolt action sarcastically.
The rules are a bit chewy because they're very 1980s, but they're Baltec.
A bit chewy.
Baltec Alpha is actually maybe
Alpha
quite
Strike.
Good, Alpha Strike, maybe quite a good cut down, like modern version of their rule set. So.
But I thought you were going to say, why are you not saying Polynesian Canoe Wars? I don't know.
Because he's got to write the
what's
bloody
happening?
thing.
I've got to write rules about it, yeah. So.
Yeah. And then get sued by Battlefront.
See, I would recommend for a stupid, like a bit of light-hearted game, Sharp Practice is good, especially Sharp Practice Napoleonic. I've had some good games with my Spanish, who are just as good as you imagine them to be. But that's colourful. I mean, I think, dare I say Saga?
Saga's good.
Yeah.
Saga's all right.
I only ever played it a few times, but every time I've played it, it's been quite fun.
I mean, it's quite an interesting mechanic in that everything's the same, and it's just your nationality or unit you're playing that actually flavours the rule set. They're quite good. Yeah. I mean, dabbling in stuff. I mean, what you should do, really, what we should actually recommend Darren doing is just choosing to do the same armies he's already got in a completely different state.
I mean, he didn't say anything about white, so whitewash is always there, right?
Yeah, winter and desert
exactly.
of your same forces. I might go. I might say something like Blood Bowl.
Yes, yeah.
Because
low model count.
By the core set, it gets you all the rules, 2 teams. It's very different. It only takes, it's all self-contained that way. So if you're doing it as a secondary game,
on a similar vein, also I'd then recommend either Warcry or Kill Team, because again, box sets have 2 teams.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to get all into all the background, because it's just nice self-contained forces. It's probably better doing that than getting the 40k. That's for sure.
Yeah, don't do that.
That way lies madness.
Yeah, and a very empty wallet.
Roy Hood. Oh,
no, sorry. No, I was going to say the other thing about 40k is that if you, depending on what you play, you could end up in the green-brown problem again.
Very much so.
Orcs.
Orcs,
Yeah.
orc blood axe commandos.
Yeah, mushroom
Roy Hood
teeth.
asks, do the reserve rules need an update? With how reserve rules work, you are actively encouraged to take expensive units, which invariably are tanks, to hopefully get a 1-drop reserve.
Mhm.
How about if when you rolled for your first set of reserves, if you succeed, you get what you want as normal. If you fail, you can take a unit worth up to 10 points. Second turn reserve, same thing. Third turn, you get what you want as you have an automatic success as usual. This way, if you want to take cheaper or smaller units in reserve, you aren't penalised.
I mean, we've done it both ways, haven't we? Because in version 3, it was all on the number of
Yeah.
units, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So in that case, you wanted odd numbers of
Yeah.
units from
'Cause you-
memory.
Mhm.
I can't even remember now.
No, even.
Because you would
Did you
have.
want even? Yeah,
Was it even?
you wanted
No, you wanted
even
odd,
because
didn't
it
you?
was half, or I can't remember, a third.
I think you wanted odd because it was half off.
Yeah,
Right,
that's why you want
yeah.
even,
From
because
memory.
otherwise you end up with more stuff off than you had on.
Oh yeah, at
Right,
least
yeah.
half off. That's it. Yeah, yeah. You didn't want. Sorry, you didn't
Yeah.
want odd. God,
Yeah, there you go.
I used to play that game.
That's
Yeah.
good. It means it's cleansing out your system. Balance is restoring.
Yeah,
Version 4 is
I do
consuming
think
it
there's
all.
something. There's something. There is. It's weird. It disadvantages you of having a lot of units
I
off.
think that is intentional.
In what way? Explain.
Right, so
Expand.
if you have an absolute shed ton of models, and because so I could take like a 300 unit infantry army, and then I guess I could do that now anyway. I'm trying to. Well, there's the whole thing where if you have your formation in reserve and it doesn't come on,
Mhm.
you become potentially unbreakable because your formation
Yeah.
isn't dead. I think my main point, which I should have gone with first, is that I like the idea that it takes a big unit of tanks and it enforces that because that's what your reserve normally is. You need a big punch of
Tanks are a mobile reserve.
tanks are a mobile reserve. They're not in the front line, and if you've got infantry and a tank platoon, that's very thematic. The tanks come running to the rescue.
Mhm.
That's kind of what they should be. I don't like it when you get the AA drive up. I've sent you some reserve. What have you got? 2 mortar tubes. Oh, great.
Thank
what
you.
good's this?
Yeah.
And if you take hundreds and hundreds of units, then it's going to take you forever to get them on the board.
But I like playing infantry, Eddie. It punishes me for taking
Well,
infantry.
it does because you're supposed to be it's supposed to be your mobile reserve coming in, and if your mobile reserve is lots of men, it's going to take them forever to get on the board.
Unless they're in shroom wagons.
Unless they're in shroom, but at that point it'll be
trucks or
300 points for the unit, and
at that point I couldn't afford them. I just think it is a bit weird. I'm not sure.
I think it works because I can't see getting more of your chaff reserve on the board quicker is going to make the game any better for anyone.
But it's not chaff necessarily. That's the problem. It disadvantages any kind of medium points units.
Well, yeah. What sort of units are you thinking about?
Well, all right, a unit of Panzer Force.
Yeah, because this is where the British have this problem where they don't have a 1-drop reserve, and in a D-Day book, because everything was 18 points, you always end up with like 3 units in reserve.
3 units.
Yeah,
which puts a disadvantage compared to stuff like the Germans or Americans who had units which can be 40 points.
I was going to say, I'm violently agreeing with you, but my point is that it pushes everything to the extremes. So you want big units of expensive tanks. So you want Tiger 2s. You want the fully kitted out late war Shermans with the jumbo and the 76s and all that because you want 1 drop. But it disadvantages if you want to take, I don't know, a Panzer IV company because you suddenly need to put, or any medium armour because you need to suddenly put 3-4 units in reserve.
Competitive games.
No, it's the same in an uncompetitive game. Why is it any different? You're still trying to win a game, right?
Yes, but if you're min-maxing
You're
your
trying to
list
play
to do that.
It's not even min-maxing. The Brits physically cannot have less. In a 100-point game will always have 3 units in reserve.
Yes, but then, no, it won't.
Well, not Bulge has changed that.
No, not even that. Because you've got partisans.
Oh my god! So that's even worse than an answer.
I'm saying, you made a statement. that isn't technically true. In that
Okay,
you have ways around it. You may not think that it fits with the theme of what you want to play.
But that's awful. That you shouldn't have to take a command card with a load of French resistance to be able to field a unit of Shermans in reserve and not be disadvantaged through it. That's madness.
I don't think so, because their Shermans are just a cheaper unit. It's a downside to that formation. You've got
Or
plenty
church.
more.
I mean, it's that bizarre thing where all the British units are 18 points. It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's just it's 3
Well,
tanks.
no, but also like
the
the M10Cs are 18 points. The Churchills are 18 points. It's really weird. How then the 4 Shermans are 18 points. The 3 Cromwell Armoured Recce Regiment. Guess how much that is? 18 points.
cut paste error. That's what that is.
It's like,
yeah, I mean, I don't see. So getting, having other ways to bring stuff on. I can see what you're saying, but I don't think it's the solution. Or rather, I don't think the problem's that bad. Because
so one of the things me and Nathan were talking about was that to dissuade having a 1-drop super heavy tank unit, which, to be fair, is not what you'd have as a mobile reserve because it's a super heavy tank.
Yeah,
is that if it's and we would try to say, if it's tactical 8, it should you have to you don't get it on your first reserve roll. I said, well, that doesn't solve the King Tiger because it's tactical 10.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Well, can you not do something with sidearm?
But it's just basically, if you the first time you get a reserve roll, it has to be like a light element or something like that. Something you can realistically see as being your quick reaction reserve, effectively.
So that would work if you had something where you said that if it had a sidearm greater than 5, you have to have 2 or more reserves turning up for it to appear, or it has to be the last thing on, or whatever it is.
One of the cool things, thinking about it, actually, one of my wish lists, if I could, would be to have a unit that in a mission with scattered reserves can pick what its dice roll is when it turns up from reserves.
To my mind, that's something Recce should do.
Yeah, I mean that would be absolutely amazing.
Recce should still have eyes and ears, and Recce should also let you re-roll your if it's on the corner, you've got lurking there, basically shepherding the other forces.
Oh, nice. If they get within a certain distance of that reserve edge, that's the edge you can choose to come in from.
Because they've scouted out the routes to the battlefield and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because well, that's quite funny, isn't it? When you get scattered reserves with Recce, and they turn up in completely the wrong place. And you're like, how bad are you at the one job you have?
Yeah.
Oh, look, we've turned up opposite these King Tigers. Oh, that was silly, wasn't it? Oh dear.
I mean, I guess the plus side of having to have, if you have the 18-point units, you can take a formation of 2 core platoons and a HQ and have that as your reserve, which gives you a second formation commander with all the rerolls that entails.
Yeah, but you don't always want a small, crappy second, because that you could potentially break and run off with that unit. Because I've thought about that sometimes, and you think, well, actually, the problem you got is that you kill the commander in a platoon, and suddenly the other platoon that's worth 18 points shells it.
Yeah, if they come in if they come in together, it's if they're all coming in reserve in the same position, assume the position. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Interesting though, mate. There is something there, I think, that may get fixed. Because it does, likewise, it does be very swingy.
Yeah, I remember everyone used to complain about how reserves used to work in version 3, and also they tried doing something different to fix that. And
well, it's fixed. It fixed the original problem.
Yeah, new problem.
Fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
Be version 5 next week. Mike Robinson asks, so I've heard of rumblings of a cancelled Battlefront game set in the Napoleonic era. They got pipped to the punch by warlords, didn't they? There's rumblings about Napoleonic, they're working on stuff, and then Warlord Games released that
Black Powder,
Napoleonic
thing.
It's
called
Napoleonic, something or other, which is that's
Epic
the one.
battles.
Yeah, you get the
Epic
American Civil
battles.
War.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are there any other historical eras you want Battlefront to expand to? Maybe even a weird fantasy or sci-fi setting.
Yeah, Checkpoint Charlie.
Yeah. So I think we've had a variation of this question before. I'm going to stick with my original answer, which is I've always thought there's scope for doing a sort of cyberpunk, sort of near future style war game.
Like the old Firestorm Armada.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So there's like, not only do you have like because Dropzone Commander kind of did this, and there was like another game done by Spartan, I seem to recall. It had elements.
That's the Firestorm one, yeah.
Yeah, it had all this cool stuff like about doing like almost cyber warfare in the actual as part of a tactical battle game, which I thought was really cool, and it's an interesting concept. It also helped Battlefront in the whole thing, 3D printing thing, because obviously IP is always really cool to have. So,
well, in that case, you just do Starship Troopers in 15mm and laugh all the way to the bank when you have a plastic bug kit.
Yeah, but there's no real cyber warfare element in the Starship Troopers.
Well, not in the existing stuff, no. But then that's when you get beyond. Would you like to know what it would do more? So well? Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
multi-part plastic framed defensive base. You've got your standard grunts, which you can have as many of those as you want. You've got rules for nukes. You've got air support. You've got all the different categories of bugs.
I remember Mongoose Publishing's.
They nearly had it. But they
nearly
didn't
nailed
have
it.
the technology.
The goal was brilliant. The game was actually really good.
Yep. But they
just overstretched. Yeah,
exactly. But in 15mm, I think
that's the right scale. What about Terminator? Because Waller did so well with that.
I still maintain there is a way that if you did concentrate on the future war bit, you see in like the first Terminator when he's having the flashbacks.
Yeah,
there is a way of doing a Terminator war game. I just don't think, unfortunately, Waller, wasn't it? Yeah. They locked in to the modern film, the most recent film Genesis. Genesis was the most recent at the time.
People want to talk about the licenses for. That's the problem.
Yeah. When unfortunately that's not what he wanted. He wanted to steal like the original.
What else would be cool? I mean, we did talk about career.
Yeah,
career would be awesome,
and well within the actual current rule set.
I think that would be doable.
Easy.
Yeah, career would be useful. I'm trying to think of a period now that I've done. So, there we go. More Burian Wars. Battlefront. They should definitely do that. There's a market for it. I swear to God.
Nice.
There you go. It's better than Coney's Creek or Franco-Prussian War. That might work actually because it's very close to almost like a proto World War One game.
It's that bridge between doing Napoleonics and doing World War One. It's a lot of the lessons for World War One will actually be learned from both the American Civil War and the Franco-Prussian War. If anyone had been paying attention.
Yeah, and then instantly forgotten. Yeah. We sent military observers to observe. What did you observe? Food?
It's also the same with the Russo-Japanese War as well. Again, a lot of the things that appear in World War One appeared there first, were written about, and no one paid any attention.
Yeah. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Russian Civil War might be interesting. Oh, the Spanish Civil War might be interesting as well as the Russian Civil War.
That's a cheery one.
Yeah. Happy.
Well, yes. There's some phenomenal stories there that haven't really been told. Like you got the Czech Legion getting dumped in the middle of basically nowhere on the Trans-Siberian Railway in World War One, in the Russian Civil War. I think there's lots of periods they could do. I think the problem is that if you look, I think you're right. I think they need to go outside of a historical scope because it's more like so to stable 3D printers. You can copyright unique things. You can't copyright a Sherman tank.
And I mean, be clear, obviously, whenever something new comes out of a Games Workshop, someone does a skirting the IP rights very, very closely. 3D printing. I've already seen the squat's got like a genericized 3D printed space draw thing.
Yeah. You can't really. Well, it's just very hard work keeping that stuff down. and it almost becomes counterproductive.
As they say, for your printer goes Bert.
Carl Stockperson asks,
Yes.
I already have 2 questions up there, so feel free to skip this for another episode. But he does say, okay.
Okay.
Since he knows the first answer to Mike's question is going to be the Polynesian canoe wars, what factions
Second mention.
factions would you want to see in that game, and which one would be Duncan's hipster choice?
Maori all the way.
Ooh,
Could I be a
I
canoe?
was going to say, if it...
Well, that's obviously what the quintessential thing of the canoe of the Polynesian canoe wars was the canoes. So
I pick canoe.
I would do
Power
late
move.
late war Hawaiians on the basis of they actually mounted a cannon to one of their canoes.
Oh my god!
Hold on, did you just say late
Yes,
war
that's
Hawaiians? I don't know what to make of that.
I don't even know either.
I don't know what this is anymore.
I'm here.
Has he
I'm
gone?
here.
Oh, no, he just
Oh, no, he
he
just
just
stunned into
dropped
silence.
that cannon bombshell and left.
Yeah, it's left. Yeah. Can I be Easter Island?
Yeah,
They're Polynesians, right? Yep. I'd just like giant heads.
Oh god!
I mean, who doesn't love a little head?
Oh, terrain.
Yeah, exactly, and then I could do the Al Snow thing and just go, who loves? What does everyone love? Head. What does everyone want? Head.
So make a note to delete this part of the
Oh.
Yep,
podcast.
there we go.
No.
I'll fix it in post,
That
I'll
was the
fix
top.
it in
That
post.
actually happened.
Moving swiftly on, Scott Decatur asks, 30-point list, everyone has deep reserves. This just sounds like a nice,
Mhm.
It sounds like a telegram. 30-point list, stop. Everyone has deep reserves, stop. See, move to contact at Hard
Stop,
Knocks Games in KY, USA for full rules and custom missions. Stop.
Which I must admit, so actually the custom missions are actually quite cool.
Hold on, KY.
Kentucky.
Where's that? Oh, okay,
No.
not jelly.
That's where it comes from. That's why it's called
Okay.
KY jelly. I have no
Is
idea.
it really?
It is now.
But you can believe
Yeah.
it, right?
You heard it here first.
I know. Is that one of those signs like where they have like biggest rubber band
Yeah.
ball, and it'll be like
Stretch the circle of
you
your
know,
friends.
home
Comes
of
the
the-
KY jelly.
exactly?
Anyway, sorry.
Right, 30 points.
It's near the end of the year.
Yeah.
Lee, what have you got?
Yeah, so one thing to add here is that there was a restriction you couldn't have a sidearm greater than 5. Yeah.
Period.
Carry on.
Yeah, so I my first gut thing was I think that armored rifles was the way forward here because, as we know, an armored rifle platoon is its own army effectively.
Yeah.
But actually, it was
Yeah, it's
surprisingly
got everything.
expensive. So it's
Yep.
But so what I came up with was a HQ with a half track for 2 points because there's no way of not having a half track.
So these are battle weary armored rifles.
So this is
from
battle weary
Bulge.
armored rifles and bulge. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no. I couldn't find notes saying
Oh
was
my
this late
God.
war or mid war what. So I went with late war because
Yeah,
that's
I
what.
assume so.
I then the HQ had been reserved most of the time for a reason. I'll get onto in a sec. I then went with a under strength battle weary armored rifle platoon with no half tracks.
Okay.
So it's 4 Garans, 4 bazookas, 2 LMGs, and a mortar. That's 11 points.
Yeah. How many points? Does it say 11 points?
Then
Oh my
went with an
God.
under strength armor rifle platoon with its half tracks, and that'd be
Mm-hmm.
that along the HQ would be my reserve because I think I worked out it's like 18 points on at 30 points to be 6%, and that would
Yeah.
leave basically that small platoon with no half tracks plus a pair of 57mm and a lucky card. That's my on
the
table.
board. Oh
on the
my
board.
god.
Lucky. I
Tournament
don't
must
know
win.
words. So even in 30
I just
points,
couldn't find a way of putting
30
extra
points, you
points.
still found a
I was
point.
trying. I went to the armor mortars. Now they're 2 points. I couldn't find a way of getting a point off anything to get the armor mortars in.
Yeah.
I wanted to get some Scots in. Couldn't do that either, which is annoying. 'Cause I really like the idea of having some
No.
Scots going around shooting things.
Well, they'd probably be really good.
All right, Dunk, what have you got?
So I went with Soviets, and I've probably made a grievous area, but I thought it was quite cool. So I went with the forward detachment. So that's a T-34-85 in command, three T-34-85s as backup for that, and then some Hero T-70s. I love a
Right.
T-70.
Mhm.
I think they're really good. They're just super for 3 points. I mean, you can't go wrong. And then I added 3 82mm mortars because they're 2 points and they're dirt cheap. And why not? Because you can give yourself some artillery then. And then the final thing was the SMG company. So 7 SMGs with a commissar, and that comes to exactly 30 points. So the reserves would be the commander and the T-34s.
Yep.
Right, and hold on. What's deep reserves?
Deep reserves means
What's
you
the
can only
armour for that?
have one platoon on. So that's fine. That works for you.
No,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because what's the front armor of a T-70?
Yeah, it's below
3,
the
I think.
threshold because it's 4. I think
So
the
you can
threshold's 4.
you can have your HQ on,
Mhm.
and then your
Yeah, but then I'd
no,
have to
'cause
muck
it's
around with
12
points.
points, isn't
But
it?
It's 18 points
No.
on, so 12 points off. So yeah, you don't need to put your HQ off. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
just be that platoon.
Just your platoon of T-34s in reserve and everything else on the board. That's
So you are fine. Yeah, that's good.
there we go.
My little 57mm are going to have a lot of work to do against that.
Yeah, they're gonna be busy.
Bazookas.
And your bazookas, yeah. I went the same kind of way as Lee. However, I went to the dirty Waffen SS.
Oh my
'Cause
god,
I was
Eddie.
just like, well, it's minimal points, bang for buck. So it's a SS Panzer Grenadier Company, HQ with Panzerfaust, 7-stand Panzer Grenadier platoon with Panzerfaust, another 7-stand Panzer Grenadier platoon with Panzerfaust, 2 MG42 HMGs, and 4 8cm mortars, and a lucky card just to watch Duncan explode.
Oh, for the love of God! How have you got lucky cards at 30
Because it was 29
points?
points for all of that, and I couldn't. All the other upgrades were 2 points for the Panzer Shrek, so I couldn't do it, or 2 points to get the 4 HMGs.
Plus, it winds you up.
And it winds you up, and the reserve will be the
can't.
Panzer Grenadier HQ and one of the platoons. So on board, I've got 7 stands of MGs with Panzerfaust, 2 HMGs, and 4 8cm mortars.
Oh my god! See, in this format, my T70 is king. I should have gone a T70 company.
I think
Is
there
that
is a card
possible?
for it.
30 points. Oh god.
Yeah, 30 T70s. Suck it.
Well, no, because you won't be able to get. I guess you could take out. Did the missions only have one objective? Probably.
I think it seemed like quite a few missions had an objective in your corner and then one single objective right in the dead centre. It's like a King of the Hill style mission.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That link I sent had the missions on. I put it on the actual podcast on the Break for Assault thing as well. And there was some. It was really interesting the actual missions they come up with.
Maybe we should give them a roll.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
So the interesting thing is,
Because they'd be really
I missed this was flame because I was in Team Yankee mode and was trying to work out 30 Team Yankee.
One Leopard 2.
Yeah. It's only when I saw the sidearm of fire, because
Disappointing.
man, there's not much of sidearm of fire in Team Yankee, but it's quite fun.
Nice. Brits for the win says, when making lists, what do you all look for and what do you consider essential?
Comets.
Yeah, King Tigers.
Oh my god. Artillery.
You need
You
a
have to have a decent
template.
barrage.
You can do without a template, but they are very useful. You know,
You can do without templates as long as your tank's main gun can fire smoke and HE. Even then, it's still tough, but you can do it.
And I think by decent template, we're talking like a 3-up firepower.
I love my grills.
Indirect. Yeah,
I need to get us back on it.
because that does work then at that
3-up
point.
firepower with a reroll and for the repeat bombard. Oof. Sorry, not on the firepower obviously, but on the reroll saves. Yeah. So because you've got infantry, because otherwise the infantry will just get in a building, and then you've got to go sort them out.
And you can't get rid of them.
That's going to suck.
Yep.
Talking about infantry in buildings, probably a platoon of infantry.
Yep.
Well,
It's
I
not
don't think it's compulsory
because
because
it's nice to have.
No.
It's not compulsory if you have other ways of dealing with infantry in buildings. So I didn't need it in my King Tiger list because I had my grills. So it's like, oh great, you've put even more stands in a vertical space that I can just obliterate with this 2+ firepower.
Because I think you can deviate away from the template as long as you know how you're going to deviate from the template. So you don't need artillery as long as you've got other things doing direct smoke and suppression, that kind
Or
of
if you're
thing.
Brits, like crocodiles or
Yeah.
flamethrowers or something
Yeah.
to get
Yeah, I
Duncan
was gonna say
to
that-
wheedle out Duggan infantry
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
fanatical charging.
Yeah,
Or
you don't need
guns.
infantry as long as you've got enough units to cover 2 objectives in those missions where you have half your force off but still need to cover ground.
Yeah,
And use it-
and an objective holding force
Yeah, exactly that.
platoon.
So you can certainly there's nothing really essential so long as you know how you could get around not having those things.
yeah,
But otherwise, it's like a template, an infantry unit if it's not an infantry force, a mobile armored unit, which might be a tank. It could be other ways of doing it. As long as you just want some sort of firepower that can move to put fire down to help clear the way for the objective for your other elements.
reserve platoons that are going to make sense for what you have got or are missing on the board.
Yep. Yeah, make sure your only artillery is in reserve. Yes.
High end AT, you have to have some way of dealing with, not necessarily from the front, but just with those because they are around, those tanks with front armor,
Yep.
9 or more.
Could be aircraft, could be
10 or
high
more.
powered artillery. Yeah.
Yeah, just some way of dealing
Gammon
with them.
bombs.
Yeah.
Gammon bombs are not the answer.
Spearhead isn't
really.
essential, but if it's in formation and like 1 or 2 points, it's almost certainly worth taking just for when it does come up, or just for keeping that formation, adding to the formation survivability,
or protecting your flanks from an ambusher.
Yeah,
they're just handy, and generally speaking, avoid pumas.
Oh, I love pumas.
They're a trap, Eddie.
They're
They're a trap.
They're a pretty trap. They're a furry trap.
Oh my! They're a furry trap.
There you go.
That's something different.
A puma is my number 1 Nazi furry.
It's a furry trap. Said Admiral Akbar.
Don't Google that.
Don't Google that, Darren. That's not a thing. That's just... You come up very confused. It's essential. And then for me, like we've been discussing, reserves really are something that makes sense when it turns up. That it's going to.
You just have to bear them in mind. It's actually it gets quite annoying.
Well, that's the fettling. And then also, sometimes it's not about worrying about your army list. It's about learning to use it properly. If that makes sense. So just play some games with it. There's nothing better than practicing with it and realizing how it works. And the best army list in the world is still going to get beaten by someone who knows how to play with a quote unquote suboptimal.
Martin.
Yeah, exactly.
No one can win tournaments with
Loves a
Russians.
suboptimal.
To be fair, he didn't win the tournament, but second place is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
With a kooky sapper list as well. But yeah, I mean, it is the age-old thing of, unfortunately, knowing what your army does and what your opponent's army does. And then, to be honest, at that point, the tools are tools. You've got to know how to use them. He says not knowing how anything works. Yeah.
And the lucky card, that's essential as well.
Yes.
No, you don't take lucky cards.
Swimwagens.
Yeah, take Swimwagens and then cry.
And then watch them fail the cross-check and get stuck in the river. Mike Robinson asks, as someone who enjoys the James Workshop videos GW's been putting out, what would Battlefront's version be? Pete on his boat, Phil Gates throwing darts to come up with lessons from the front rules decisions, Duncan smashing Schwimmwagens with a hammer.
Oh, I'd never smash a Schwimmwagen. They're far too expensive to be smashing.
It would be Duncan in the Schwimmwagen with Pete on the front.
Yeah,
worst
shredded, like a bit of ticker tape.
It was Duncan with the Schwimmwagen at Battlefront HQ.
It would be a ticker tape parade. Ticker tape parade made of lucky cards. Just showering down from the ceiling.
That'll show Phil.
Yeah. I think it should be Phil, but like the Captain Blackadder, where he's got the underpants on his head and the 2 pencils up his nose.
Say that the next hotness is going to be 6mm Team Yankee.
Yeah, and then going bibble at the end of every sentence as well.
And then Evans just comes in with a hammer and starts smashing it all, and pulls out his 1 to 100 scale B-52.
Yeah.
6mm, never.
Well, I quite like the idea of Phil on the boat as well, just like doing the whole. What was the guy's name from the Far Show? The car salesman.
Oh, Tony.
And just yeah, exactly. Playing Flames of War is very much like making love to a beautiful woman.
First, you have to choose what you're going to keep in reserve because you don't want to put it all down up front.
Exactly.
Then you have to think very tactically
Need to
about
work-
where you're going to deploy all of your, shall we say, force.
Yeah,
Your
your firepower.
Firehouse. Go forward with your spearhead. Penetrate deeply with the spearhead.
with your horse phalanx. You're anatomically correct.
Horse phalanx. Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
Sweet Lord. So that, yeah, but what would the name be? It would have to be like Billy Battlefront or something, wouldn't it? If the other one's James Workshop, it'd have to be
Or is it just like Colin the Caterpillar all over again?
Barry Front. There you go.
Barry Front. Hi, I'm Barry
Front.
Front.
Oh man, that works.
Bang, and your German's
Bang, and
gone.
you failed a firepower. Just bailed.
Yeah. Just
bailed.
They
Justin
are. You
bailed.
can have this idea for free.
There you are.
That's our Christmas
Yeah.
present to you.
Billy Front.
Absolute gold. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I think that is all of the
Is that
questions.
the last
we've
one?
got. Yeah, or the ones that Lee posted.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't read them.
I'll apologise to the patrons if I have missed anything. I thought I got everything that I could find on the Discord.
We're giving them the greatest gift you can get as a British person, which is something to complain about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we missed you, it was probably deliberate, and you can hold it.
I don't know. It's a fairly low bar when you're answering questions about Nazi furries.
Yeah. What questions would we reject at that point? It's just like
I was asking about how to set up a proper assault. And they spent 20 minutes talking about Fruity Rudy's drinking milk with furry slipper.
Mm-hmm. And to think when we
Fruity
first started doing
Rudy.
this section, we thought we'd get that kind of caliber of question. People asking, how do these things work? How to do this properly? And here we are, literally, try to work out what furry suit Goring had. It's walrus, clearly.
Mink. Yeah.
True.
Walrus.
Narwhal.
Narwhal. Yeah. He's come dressed as a narwhal again. Oh god.
Just got the trouser zip undone, and here's the horn.
Oh God.
Exactly.
And
No,
the
on your
timestamp?
head,
Okay.
the other head going.
Shall we shoot and scoot before we forget?
Events.
Oh no, there's more.
Or just events.
Yeah.
Just events. So we have the 4th and 5th of February is Rivalry 2023 at Battlefield Hobbies in Daventry. 100 points late war. We need to bug Hammy and find out what he's doing with the 40-point list swap, because I thought he said it was changing the way that attack and defender's done.
Yeah, but he's got bigger problems than that.
He
He's had
has,
to change
yeah.
his Facebook profile.
To a picture of a house.
Yeah.
A hovel. God.
Has he bought Twitter or something?
No,
Nice.
not yet.
Then we have the Sleep War Game show at the Excel Centre in London, 22nd of April. 4th, 5th and 6th of August, ETC mid-war. The hotel room's booked. Fez is getting excited. Yeah,
Have you
the hotel
booked?
rooms. I've nearly booked the holiday. Need to make sure that goes in. And it's the same place
Where
as
is
it
it
was
this
last year, which is good because there's a great curry house.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Belgium.
Yes.
And you're going for curry.
Because it was good. He says, do you want it European?
Did
He
you
goes,
just-
are you from England? I said, yes, we are. He goes, oh, do you want real curry or do you want European curry? I said, can you have the real curry, please? And it was glorious.
So hold on. Did you also have like a copy of Razzle tucked in front of the steering wheel and like really went full British tourist?
GK did ask for chips.
Oh my god!
But at this point, it was the second night in there, and there's obviously 6 of us, and we all drink all with the beers. And he kind of says, "Normally we wouldn't serve them, sir, but for you, I'll make the exception."
That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. We'll make an exception to
fine.
serve you chips.
Yeah, it was glorious with the King Cobras. It's looking forward to it. The 23rd and 24th of September is the Flames of War UK Nationals, which is going to be mid-war to align with the ETC. That is at Battlefield Hobbies in Daventry.
I wonder what the objective is going to be this year.
Good question. It'll be 6mm Team Yankee tanks. With a hammer. Yeah,
Polynesian canoes.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Mary War canoes are awesome. Did you know Mary War canoes? You couldn't have cooked meat on a Mary War canoe, nor could you enter the boat other than by the side and the gunwales. You couldn't come on by the bow or the stern. As part of their superstitions on it.
Just the superstitions.
Can I just say? I thought you said Murray Walker.
Murray
then.
Walker.
Not Mary
And
Walker.
they're off.
Yeah, exactly. Murray Walker. You can't give meat to Murray Walker.
The Polynesian war canoes. They're coming into turn.
Go.
Go! That's it. Go!
See that if that's not the hacker, a challenge.
And then the 11th and 12th of November at Warfare Reading at the Farnborough Centre. It's going to be late war because that is not mid war essentially.
Yep.
It's such a good year already. Look at that.
Is it? Have the official, unofficial points been released?
Yet. Very soon, imminently. I've been
Interesting.
Because they're going to come out, and then there'll be a period that we can adjust them or play test them, and then they'll take some feedback, and then they'll come out again to say.
Hold on, they'll take feedback.
It's a
from
brave
us?
new world. They said they would never adjust the points in this format. They said they wouldn't, do a living points costs.
I'm not going to. Go take the feedback. Go. This is all rubbish.
Yeah. All right. You're just not happy then. You're just moany. Delete. Delete all the points.
Well, can we screw it up? Like Marder's was super cheap. Can we make I don't know, like Sherman's 5 points or something?
I'm hoping that the things like the American 105s become like a point each or something ridiculous. Like utter meta swing.
Yeah, the Panzer IV specials instead of being 12 points each are like 8
for a platoon of 5.
Damn. That's a nice dream.
We can live.
What Panzer IV's being useful? Yeah.
If it was mid-war for that little tournament thing, it would be one Tiger one. 28 points.
And a lucky card. 29 points, isn't it? It's 29 points.
Yes, this is my army. It's here. That is events as far as I know. Shall we shoot and scoot, please?
Yes.
He says.
What should we be?
Reserves, isn't it? 5 up.
Oh yeah, 5 up, that'll do. Yep. Shoot and scoot, but from reserve.
If you feel
so we're playing like Phil plays. Fast and loose.
Both down. I picked the wrong dice.
He played. Oh, did he play? He played Blood Bowl.
2.
Hooray! We failed.
That's not 5.
That's everything failed. Oh, there is an addendum. I've forgotten. Right at the end, if you've got to this part, I want us to say the old hands rule for SS that I talked about in the last episode, and it was that long ago. It is only it's not your skill, it's your tactics value. So when you have your platoon of SS King Tigers next to your HQ, they become tactics 3+, not skill 3+. So that platoon still hits on 4s in assault, but they can shoot and scoot and do other tacticy things on a 3+.
Which then never want to do.
But they do it. It's 4s normally. They become 3+. So I wouldn't. Goddard pointed.
You were cheating.
Out. No, I went back and in the games, it never actually happened that I used a 3+ for them to hit an assault.
Oh, okay.
I went. I would have done had it happened.
You thought you were cheating.
I would have missed. No, I didn't know the rule properly. But in the actual games, all I ever did was use a 3+ for a tactics roll. Because the time that I was running Lee over,
there you go.
It was my HQ team, and that team is 3+, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
it's so broken. I can't believe I'm giving 3 of them to my nephew because I don't think I can run that company again because it's just too much.
Remember, a King Tigers for life, not just for Christmas.
Not just for Christmas. He's got Sturm Tigers as well, so that'll keep
a furry King Tiger. Oh my god! No, Storm Tribe is they're a trap.
I know.
They're a
Which is
trap
why
like broom
I'm
bars.
happy to buy them for him, and I'm going to just
Yep.
attack him with easy 8s.
Brilliant.
The Armored Trade Record podcast you've been listening to is Shoot and Scoot, the Flames of War podcast from the team at Breakthrough Assault.co.uk. It's brought to you by support from Battlefield Hobbies, Dice of War, Frontline Terrain, and Autobahn.
Fun.
And Batsy Dog's Home.
Fun
Yeah.
on the Autobahn.
Can you just imagine? You get home, you go on Blockbusters. You get home, you're looking forward to a World War II film, and you found out in your rush you actually didn't pick up Fury, you picked up Furry.